Okay, in this video we are going to create a drawing template with our border and title block that we have for Hilliard Technical Center. You are using 2019. This video is being made on 2018. Not much difference, if any noticeable difference at all. Regardless, we are still going with the same dimensions, same layout. A few things may be a slight difference, such as line weights, but we'll worry about those when we get there. So you may want to have this information up on your other screen as I do, so it's quicker and easier to go to. Back to Inventor. To start up a new drawing file, well, first off, and it's somewhat irrelevant, but just to get rid of everything else, I went to the default project. Either click in the box or double click default. Again, really doesn't matter, but to start a new drawing, a few ways of doing that. We can go here in the new window, part assembly drawing presentation, and I have a drawing here, and you might notice the DWG. However, such as if I slide the advanced over, it's not just an AutoCAD DWG or drawing file. The standard here, standard.idw, is actually an Inventor drawing file. We're going to use a DWG AutoCAD. Before too long, it's going to be the only option, I think. Really very hard to tell the difference between the two, so why there is still the option is beyond me. But my recommendation isn't either one of these. My recommendation is go up to on the ribbon and click on New. What that's going to do is open up another window right here. Here are your standard part files, IPTs, your standard assemblies, IAMs, and then of course your standard DWG and standard Inventor file right here, IDW, and then of course your exploded view, your presentation down below. Nice thing about this window, if you ever forget, again up on your ribbon, click on New and opens this window, is all your templates, and even though there are subfolders, English, metric, and mold design, here is your path right here. C:\users, public, public documents, Autodesk, Inventor, or sorry, Autodesk, then Inventor 2018 or 19, and templates. And I will switch to Windows Explorer or File Manager. Go to there, C:, drop down users. Now instead of going to your name, go to public, and then public documents, Autodesk. I'm expanding each of these. You can click and double click on them here, doesn't matter. Inventor 2018 or 19 in your case, and then templates, and there you will see those same subfolders along here, and then also those standard template files. And I'll right click here on any of these fields, click on size all columns to fit, the way it automatically adjusts, click here and it'll sort them accordingly. So again, we have this. Now I'll go back to Inventor, and I'm going to go ahead and double click standard, or click once and then click on create. After we create your template file, you will have one here that says HTC 2019 or 2020, which you will then use from here on out for your drawing files in Inventor. So I will double click here. Okay. So this is what my window looks like after that template file has been opened. And kind of hard to tell for sure what size sheet there is. There is a zoned border along with title block. Irrelevant. Again, we're going to create our own. Make sure you have your browser displayed. And if you don't have that, go to your view ribbon, your user interface, and it will either say project browser, that was the older style, and now they're saying model. So figure out which one that is and make sure that is turned on. And in that browser, kind of important to note, now here I show sheet 1, and I see where these little arrows, or I'll just call them arrows, are identifying that this one is expanded. Notice that these are indented, so that's under sheet 1. Drawing resources, very important. Go ahead and expand that. Take a look. We've got sheet formats, borders, title blocks, sketch symbols, AutoCAD blocks. Now, we're not going to use the blocks. We will use the title blocks. We will use borders. Now these sheet formats, just go ahead and basically they're identifying, such as for new sheets, that you can click here and identify. I'm not going to go over that right now. If you want to play with that, double click, you can. Now sheet 1, clicking on it once here, and keep in mind there are places that you can also right click. Each of these, ANSI large default border sheet 1, and again those are both under here. I'm going to right click on ANSI large and I'm just going to delete it. Now we notice the border, or sorry, the title block is gone, and right here title blocks, ANSI large or ANSI A. All I have to do under drawing resources is double click on that, and there it is. Pretty nice that we can get rid of those very easily. Double click, there's the ANSI A, a little smaller, and have those readily available. We're going to create our own, and there will be a new border here and a new title block. So when we create them, it puts them into our drawing resources that we can then use in any of these layouts or sheets that we desire. Again, very useful. So I'm going to right click on ANSI A, delete. I'm going to right click on default border and delete. So here I have sheet A. I don't even know what size sheet A is. Again, right click. There's a repeat, copy, delete sheet, base view, create sheet format, edit sheet, and how to. Click on edit sheet, and this little window pops up, and it'll tell you right there, basically that is a D size sheet. Now if you need to review any of your handouts, an A size is 8.5 by 11, B size is double that, which is 11 by 17. C size is somewhat double that, and if I go ahead and click that, it'll show right here, 17 by 22. Now the architectural size, or per our plotter, that would be an 18 by 24, but that's irrelevant at this time anyway. So, and then of course a D size, yes, 22 by 34. Again, an architectural or oversized there because of the sheet sizes we have. Ours would be a 24 by 36. And then of course there's EF, and then many of the metric, so on and so forth. We also have the 18, 24, 24, 36, and so on there as well. I'm going to go ahead and leave this as a B size sheet. Along in here I see that I have a title block by standard down here near the bottom right corner. I can choose whether it's portrait or landscape. For B size and larger sheets, we're almost always going to have a landscape orientation, including most A size sheets. So we're going to leave this as it is, and I'll hit OK. So that is now a B size sheet. Hard to tell without anything on it. Again, default border. I can double click. You know what? I really don't need a reference zone A1, A2 or so when it's that small of a sheet. So again, expand sheet 1. I will right click and delete it. And so let's go ahead and get started with the border. I'm trying to make this video as simple as possible, or as quick as possible, short as possible, as I ramble on. So let's get started on the borders. I am going to right click on the border, and I see repeat, define new border, define new zone border, expand all children, collapse all children, so on. So let's go ahead and do the define new border. Again, for a B size sheet, I don't see any need to have reference zones at this time. We could always work with those later. So new border. And if you notice, it throws you into sketch mode. Here I have the finished sketch or exit. Some of this other stuff is grayed out. I am now in the sketch or create for sketch ribbon. And that's what I'm going to start with. A little bit different here than in AutoCAD is I've got some axes that the sheet, or what appears to be the sheet, is crammed down into, such as to the origin. And there's some little icons, padlocks, meaning they are locked. And you can tell there's some small incident constraints or points down there. So let's just do a rectangle. And again, if you notice, if you hover as you're moving past this axis, it kind of magnetizes or wants to snap to that axis. Likewise, down at the origin, not only does it snap there, but the little blip turns green. So I'm going to draw from there to there. And that is a very wonderful thing to have because, and I'll show that to you later, now with that rectangle there, I am going to do an offset. And I will click here, bring it down, type 0.5, and I would show the 0.5 here, and I'm going to leave that there. That dimension is actually a constraint, a dimensional constraint, and this is where that parametric information comes into play. The fact that that was snapped to the edge of my sheet, no matter what sheet size I have, even though I'm drawing on a B size sheet now, I can change it later to an A size, C size, D size, and that basically border will be there, and then this border will be 1/2 inch from the perimeter. And because I did them all at once, this 1/2 inch dimensional constraint here applies to all of them. Don't worry about the other constraints. Those are basically parallels, and sometimes you'll see one that's like here is a perpendicular. Again, just system driven. Don't worry about them too much. Right now I'm going to finish. Now I'm going to show, now I'm sorry, it's asking for a name. I am just simply going to put 0.5 plain, just a plain border, and hit enter. Okay, now it's gone. No, it's not. I am now out of sketch mode. I am back to sheet 1, and there is nothing there. There is nothing to expand. That's correct. I haven't put it on there yet, but what I did create is up here in my drawing resources. So now all I have to do is double click, and there it is. Like I mentioned before, I can right click, edit the sheet size, go to a size A. I'll even go to a portrait, and there is my border at 1/2 inch in. And if you look close, there is another border here, and that is because I did not do something that I'm going to show you here in a minute. Let me go ahead and get back to a B size landscape. And again, that border is there. Now let's go ahead and throw in the standard, one of the standard title blocks. So you just go up here to the resources, double click it, and notice where it's at. Now this does not look good. Why? Because the title block is basically shoved to the far outside of the sheet of paper. It's not shoved to the edge of the paper. It is shoved to the outside border that we created, that I just created. So I will go ahead and just delete that title block, and I need to change this border. Now I have a couple ways of doing it. I can do it here, edit definition by right clicking, or I can go up to here, edit. Either way, that takes me back into it. Now what I should have done, and I can still do it now, is I can click, hold the control key and click, or if I just window, and I know it's hard to see, but you can window over the two outside borders here and here. It does now treat them a little bit differently or separately. So I'll hold the control key and click those as well. Okay, so if you notice, you should be able to see on your screen that border is now somewhat highlighted in green. That would normally be put onto a no print layer in AutoCAD. We have that, but it doesn't look the same here in Inventor. What we're going to do is go to Format, and I have Sketch Only. Sketch Only meaning it applies just for our sketching purposes. After that, it is not technically an object. So I'm going to select it there, and the fact that it is highlighted in blue is the only way that we see that it is sketch only, or that that's what the format is. Now when I click off, notice sketch only is no longer highlighted, meaning the next thing that I'm going to draw is not a sketch only. It is a blue object or a regular object, just like this here that I've selected. Again, not highlighted. Select this one here, and it is now highlighted. It is a sketch only. So nonetheless, I have changed this outside border to a sketch only, and I've left this inside alone, and I will finish sketch. Now it's asking to save edits. If I say no, it will just simply discard and go back to what it was. If I say save as, I would pick save as if I want a second type of a border. So I do want the same thing I had, I just want to make something slightly different. So I would do a save as, and it would give me another type or another border file right here. In this case, I want 0.5 plane to be updated. So I will hit yes. And that way, even if I had it here, which I do, and here, they are one and the same. They are exactly the same and have been updated. So I will now add my title block, and it is now shoved into this border. Unlike before, and if you should be able to tell, pretty much that edge or that border around the edge of the paper is no longer there. And again, this title block will always be shoved into the outside of whatever it is we've created. Now I'll go ahead and delete this because I am not wanting to use that. Entirely up to you if you want to radius these at 1/4 of an inch like we had on Inventor or on AutoCAD. Might as well. Let's go ahead. So I will edit. And in this case, I am going to fill it. Make sure that is at a 0.25. Click, 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 click. Finish that, and I'll finish save. Now in this case, save edits? No, I want to do a save as. So I'll do a 0.5 filleted. Fillet corners. And hit OK. So again, here I have 0.5 plane and I have 0.5 fillet corners. Now again, that's what's changed here on my drawing resources. Here on sheet 1, I still have this one. By the way, I cannot add another here. I'm trying to do this one instead. The active sheet already has a drawing border. Delete the existing border before inserting a new one. So delete and then add that one, and there it is. Again, change to a D-size sheet, and there it is, still at 1/2 inch offset. So come back to edit sheet, B-size sheet, and there I am. So of course I want to save this, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I should have saved it already. And under documents, I'm going to put it wherever you want, C:. If you want to do this first and put it under your own little temporary file, that's fine. However, there is another place we could go, and I could go to File, Save As, and save Copy as a template. And I'm going to go ahead and do this. So again, I can go ahead and go to where I originally had, to C:, public documents, down through templates, and identify it here. Or with Inventor, like I said, just as easy, do a save as, let it expand, and save copy as template. And if you check here, users, public documents, so that's already putting me in the right location. So in this case, I'm going to label this as HTC 2019. And I will hit. Now there are some options if you want to look at them. Active window on save, active component, active window. Not sure what some of these mean, so I'm probably going to refrain from messing with them. And it looks like, so templates where I'm at, the file name, file type, it is a DWG as opposed to an Inventor drawing file. Again, highly recommended. And then I'll hit save. Now if I go back to home, and not necessarily here, but go back up to new, notice I have HTC 2019. So from here on out, this is the one I'm going to use.